Wow, okay, I actually got that to work. Okay, first and foremost, let's do a mic check before we go any further and people blow up the chat. Mic working for everybody? Awkward pause. I'm not hearing anything. All right, perfect, we're working. Okay, cool. Hey everybody, welcome to Local Hack Day Builds 2021. My name is Chris, and it is awesome to see you this morning, evening, afternoon, whatever time zone you're calling in. We've got an awesome localhost workshop coming in today. We are going to be going over Introduction to Blockchain, and we're going to learn how to score on Icon. All right, so let's kick it off in the chat. How many of you are first-time hackers? First-time hackers, first local hack day. What we got? Who's in the chat right now? Let's hear it. We always want to celebrate new hackers. I'm old. I've been here for like 6 years now. I got to retire. MLH's retirement fund. Got to start kicking in. First local hack day. Shout out to Adam. Adam, I was actually watching Ryan's stream earlier. Are you still in the lead for the leaderboard for points? Is that still a thing? And I was watching earlier, but it's great to see you all here today. Is anybody brand new to blockchain too, or are we all blockchain experts right now? About to show me some stuff. Blockchain's really cool. It's also very trendy. You can now sound cool to your tech friends. Beginner, not a problem at all. You're hearing like Bitcoin's like getting like worth something right now, so you're probably wondering what it is. Well, let's get started, shall we? Welcome again to the Localhost Workshop. I'm Chris, but you'll hear that many times. Oops, I just clicked out of the stream. All right, so let's get started. My name is Chris B. I'm here to lead the session and help you learn something, of course, today. I'm a CS major at RIT in Rochester, New York. My favorite programming language is Ruby, and my favorite tool is Ruby on Rails. More of a framework, but whatever. All right. If you're new and it's Thursday and you somehow have not learned what Major League Hacking is by this point, Major League Hacking is the global hacker community, and it is our job to empower hackers. We help support over 65,000 hackers globally. We've seen over 12,000 projects get created, and we help support tons of member events in over 400 cities. There are a ton of resources for you available on MLH's website at mlh.io. In the chat, we've got a question. What is Ruby? Can you tell us? That is a programming language, an object-oriented programming language, mostly used for web development. We're not going to be talking about web development much in this workshop. That's for another workshop. But Ruby and Ruby on Rails, that's some fun stuff for another day. So, table of contents, I'm going to be showing you the table of contents throughout this workshop so you can keep tabs of where you are. And you can see what's going to be coming up next. If you fall behind at all during this workshop is recorded and can be accessed later. You also will be getting the participant slides. So all of the content that I will be going over, you'll have access to it as well. So if something doesn't work or something's not set up right and you want more time later to go back and debug it, you absolutely can. You have all the resources that you will need. So what are we going to be learning today? We're going to be learning an introduction to blockchain technology and Icon. We're going to learn how to create a blockchain wallet to send and receive transactions. And then lastly, we're going to learn how to deploy an application to the Icon network using Morpheus Labs. So when you hear the word blockchain, what do you think about? Let's throw it in the chat. What do you think about blockchain? Besides it being a trendy word that you hear in your CS1 class, what do you think about when you hear the word blockchain? Besides, I don't want to hear block of chains. Nobody say that. Mining, yep, that's a good. Bitcoin, yep, very popular Bitcoin. Transparency, yeah, big one. How about security? Security, yeah, it's really, really secure. It's a really secure technology. It's very transparent. Yep, smart contract. We're going to be going over those this workshop. All good points. So if you have no idea what blockchain is, that's perfectly fine. To help us understand what blockchain is, let's rewind to the days before the internet and computers. If you had a bank account, the details of all of your transactions would be stored in something called a bank ledger. This is known as centralized banking, and all processes happen via the bank and recorded by the bank. If you don't know what a ledger is, it's a store of financial records in paper or digital form. So taking a look back at this centralized banking model, we can think of the bank as being the center of all financial operations. If you'd like to pay someone, you'd give the money to the bank, who would then transfer it to the recipient. Now, just on this model, can anybody see any problems with this model? Anything wrong with centralized banking? Anybody have any guesses? I want to hear some guesses. Banks do hate this one weird trick. That is true. And you're going to learn more tricks this workshop. The bank can get corrupted. Absolutely. What we are seeing right now is a single point of failure. If the bank goes down, we're in trouble. So what if someone tampers with it? It's the only source of truth for our bank records. Or what if the bank gets into major financial trouble? These are all problems with the centralized system. And I'm going to take a step aside for a second and not talk about financials. This is a problem for really any application platform. So take YouTube, for example, right? Say YouTube went down. That's a centralized system. But if we had a peer-to-peer network and everybody had a copy of all the videos on YouTube, not paying attention to the technical requirements in order to do that, it would be a decentralized system. So it's kind of the same thing. Blockchain does not just have to be used for financials. It can be used for other areas of technology as well. But it's nice to use another analogy because I have no idea how to handle money. So yeah. So blockchain can be a solution to a centralized system. Blockchain was created to help solve the problems that can arise from having a single centralized source of knowledge. It sought to create a decentralized platform, one where there was no single source of truth and all knowledge was shared collectively. So let's go back to our paper ledger. What if everyone had a copy of the ledger? All new transactions were verified by everyone's ledger copy, and transactions were sent directly to one another. This is called peer-to-peer. And instead, it's through a central, this is instead of going through a central financial institution. And peer-to-peer, you may have heard this before in networking, like peer-to-peer sites or peer-to-peer file sharing. It's the exact same concept. Instead of having one server where your computer downloads a file from or a video, it gets it from another peer, who then gets it from some other peer, where multiple people have the same copy of the file so that it'll never go down. So the key to blockchain is cryptography. Each new piece of information in the ledger is linked to the previous one with a highly secure cryptographic hash, making them incredibly difficult to modify. Blockchain is a chain of securely connected blocks of data. Blockchain technology has been around since the 1990s, but really took off in 2008 when an unknown person used blockchain technology to create the cryptocurrency Bitcoin. So if you don't know what a cryptographic hash is, or you're not a computer security major, it's just an algorithm designed to encrypt data to keep it protected and secure. So what can we use blockchain for? I already mentioned a few examples before, but what are some more examples? We can use it for contracts. Blockchain can protect and preserve details of legal documents. It can be used in healthcare. Private health records can be encrypted and securely transferred. And lastly, it can even be used in the music industry. Blockchain can create a decentralized database of ownership rights and royalty payments. So now let's get an introduction to ICON. The ICON project uses blockchain to ensure the integrity of data being shared between organizations. Part of the ICON project is a cryptocurrency called Icon Exchange Tokens, or ICX for short, and we're going to refer to it as ICX for the remainder of this workshop. We can give and receive ICX online. We store our ICX in a digital wallet, a secure location for our ICX data. You can check the current conversion of ICX to United States dollars, or USD, at that link. So now let's touch on smart contracts. A score is a smart contract on a reliable environment. A score is deployed onto the Icon network, or in other words, a block on the blockchain. We can send transactions to a score's address, and all nodes on the Icon network verify the result of the transaction. For example, if we send coins to a friend, we write a transaction which reduces our balance and simultaneously increases their balance. We can write scores using something called T-bears, Icon's suite of command line development tools. We can use T-bears to create scores and test them on Icon's testnet. Testnet is an environment that emulates the real-life mainnet of Icon. If you don't know what an emulator is, it's a piece of hardware or software which imitates the functions of another system. So what are we going to learn today? We're going to use Icon technology to deploy a slot machine application where users bet ICX to play the game and will either gain or lose ICX based on the outcome. As a player, how can you know that the slot machine is truly random and fair and that it hasn't been tampered with? The concept is called probable fairness, and blockchain can help provide this trust to the user. So let's explain how. Probable fairness. The gaming logic of our slot machine app will generate a random number. If the number ends in 0, the player is won. And then to generate a number, our score will combine a complex, verifiable transaction hash with the current timestamp and convert that into a number. This way, our generated number can be trusted to be fair. So what's it going to look like? This is going to be the end result at the end of our workshop. Hopefully we can get it working just fine. So let's first set up our environment. So let's do a quick introduction to Morpheus Labs. Morpheus Labs is a blockchain platform as a service, or BPaaS. It's a web tool that's going to allow us to create scores, deploy them, and launch our web app all from your browser. So let's get started. First off, if you'd like to follow along, we're going to need to create a Morpheus account. So go ahead and follow this link to create a Morpheus account. We're going to give everybody a minute here to do this in case you want to follow along. If you don't want to follow along and you want to continue lecture style, you can as well. All right, is everybody all set? Let me know if you need another minute. All right, cool. Oops, that's way too big. So let's continue with configuring Morpheus Labs. Go ahead and click on the personal plan and then scroll down to your profile. From here, under your profile, add your details, then click Save. No payments required for this workshop. Under payment settings, make sure to click the 30 days free now and then hit start trial. We don't want to enter any credit card information here. No, don't have to pay up. And then we're going to add icon as your preferred blockchain and add Python as your preferred language. For channel, make sure you choose icon as your preferred blockchain under channel onboarding. If the page is hidden, it might be on the left-hand menu panel on the bottom. Let me go to the link that I posted to make sure that oops. 1 second. All right, let's take a look. Let me see where everybody is. Account. Need to verify your account. Let me verify it really quick. I've already created an account, so I'm not sure if I can get back to the registration process. So I'm just quickly making a new account just so I can help debug. Email address verified. Sweet. Okay. I am in. We're just going to try the platform. Personal, individual, name. My name is John. Just kidding. It's not. What is my address? I have no idea. What is your contact number? I am definitely located in Singapore. Absolutely. Nah, where's US? There it is. All right, cool. All right, next, payment settings, start 33-day trial. It's checking out, so I'm just showing it. Trial period is started. Configure my repository. GitHub, personal access token. Okay, they switched it up. No problem. New blockchains. We're going to do icon. Okay, cool. So let me bring this slide. Let me bring this slide over to here so you can all see it really quickly. Okay, cool. So yeah, I know you weren't able to see my screen before because I was entering in like my phone number and address and stuff. You gotta maintain some level of security on this stream. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to be on this screen where it says new blockchain, select a blockchain network. There was a red button here before that I pressed. It was create a blockchain. Is everybody at least on the screen? And I think you can just do new blockchain network, and then we can just search for icon. Oops, that's not how you spell icon. And here's icon. A white label error page. What do you mean by a white label? Have you verified your account? That's weird. And you've tried from different browsers. Try clearing your cache or clearing your cookies and stuff, like just completely, because it's working here. We haven't done anything technical yet besides create an account. All right. In the meantime, go ahead and continue creating your account. Let me see where. Oops. Let me bring the slides down over here. So for the identifier, throw in the identifier. Just call it icon, and then the wallet password. Just enter. You can just enter password for now, and then hit submit once you're good. Will this work? Valid. What do you mean? Let's see really quickly. All right, it's giving me a bug right now. It's saying my identifier is not valid, but it should just take icon. All right, 1 second. Why is this not working? Has anybody else gotten it to work? It worked before in my test, but now it's not. Okay, I don't know why that worked. Okay, yeah, okay, so I guess your first name with icon attended at the end of it works now? I don't know. I've created so many of these blockchain networks. I have, like, I don't know. Maybe it has to be unique, which I can't imagine Chris is unique. But hopefully everybody, hopefully everybody's got it working. So I'm going to give everybody a minute to try to get their identifiers working. That was a little tricky. All right. And Real Crean CIA. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. Is your browser working? Did you get that little issue fixed? White label error. Literally never heard that before. All right, cool. In the meantime, while we're still waiting for everybody else, What we're going to do now is we're going to hit the giant green start button. And now it should say starting. Then we're going to wait for the network to launch. Waiting. And in the meantime, let's do a quick recap while we're waiting for our network to launch. So we've set up Morpheus Labs and created an icon network. Next, we're going to get the source code for the web application. So we're going to head over to GitHub to grab the code. So GitHub, if you've never heard of it before, is a web platform to store and share code in repositories. We're going to create a GitHub account and fork or copy the starter code for this project. To get started, head to this URL, and I'll throw it in the chat as well. So spinning up the network is spinning up your own instance of the network. So it is your own blockchain instance. So you're not messing with anybody else's instance, if that makes sense. But it's your own network, basically. So everybody gets their own network so you can create an example. All right, so let me get something like a server. Yep. All right, let me get GitHub going here. So GitHub, what's the link? It is mlhlocal.host/GitHub signup. Well, that's a link to sign up for GitHub, but we need to, oh yeah, sorry. If you've never set up GitHub before, go ahead and create an account really quick. And then we'll hang out at this slide for a second. I have to clone a fresh copy of the repo as well because I have 18 other of these repos and they're all modified. So let me get a fresh copy too. And I just posted the repo link in the chat, so you can get a well, when we get to the cloning stage, that's where you can find the code. We're not going to clone it just yet. So what we need to do on GitHub is we need to create something called a personal access token before we continue with the cloning process. So now that we have a copy of the code, well, actually, okay, they just assumed we cloned it. Sorry, we're going to clone it. All right, let me clone it really quick. So we're going to just do git clone this guy. You can also just download the zip file as well, and then throw it in your development folder or wherever you keep all of your code. You can copy the zip, you can clone it, do whatever you feel is comfortable. You basically, if you've never used GitHub before, just hit this giant green code button, and then you can do download zip. If you're a little more technically advanced and you have your SSH keys already set up and stuff, you can just copy it and then do a git clone in your terminal, like I just did. Nope, don't do that. And my terminal is, there we go. GitHub is a very powerful tool, Adam. Very powerful. I think I log into GitHub every day. Why is it asking me to input? Oh, no, it's not. It's just a long directory name. Okay, cool. So we've cloned the code. Now we need to create a personal access token. So to do that, we're going to head over to settings. So now you're in settings. We need to head over to developer settings. And then developer settings, personal access tokens. I've got a ton of personal access tokens. Well, actually only 4. But we're going to generate a new one. I'm going to enter my password. You can't see my password, hopefully. And we're just going to fill it in. All right, so there's just some different scopes that we need to include for our personal access token. As you can see, there are a ton of different scopes here. And if you, so Adam, what did you click? We went into settings up in the top here under your little profile picture. So we went to settings. And then from settings, we went to developer settings. And then from developer settings, we went to personal access tokens. In personal access tokens, we can generate a new one. And it's giving us a long list of checkboxes. So let's go ahead and see what we have to enable for our scopes. If you don't know what a scope is, basically what we're doing right now is creating a token. And what a token is, it's like a key. It's a sequence of characters and numbers. And when given to GitHub by a third-party application, that third-party application has a certain set of permissions. Right now, we're declaring what those permissions are. So in this case, we're giving Morpheus Labs a access token to our GitHub account, so Morpheus Labs can control our GitHub account on our behalf. Now, of course, we really don't want to give Morpheus Labs complete control of our whole account, so we're going to limit the control to only a certain set of scopes, or in this case, features of our account. So let's go back to the slides and see what we need to give Morpheus Labs permission to. We need to check off the repo checkbox. We need to check off the admin public key checkbox. And then we need to check the delete repo checkbox. And for the note, we're going to throw in Morpheus Labs as the note. So we know what this personal access token is being used for. Because as you could tell before on my personal tokens list, I have several tokens used for several third-party applications that I use as a developer. So I don't want to accidentally misinterpret one token for another and give an application more security or less security than it needs, which would then cause it to break, which would not be good. All right, let's continue going forward. We're going to need to copy that personal access token, so let's generate it first. So I have my personal access token. I definitely should not be showing it on a live screen. So I am going to delete it now that I just realized that. So copy it. I'm not going to copy it because that gives you basically control of my account. All right. Once you've copied this token to the clipboard, let me put the slides back in full screen so we can see a little bit better. We're going to add our personal access token to Morpheus Labs. So we're going to all go back to Morpheus Labs, select the Solution Center menu item on the side here, click the plus next to repository connection. So I'm going to give everybody a second to do that. All right, once you've clicked on that, select GitHub as the platform and paste your GitHub access token in the personal access token field. Go ahead and click connect and then save. Now we need to create a workspace. So what we're going to do is we're going to head back to GitHub really quickly. So let me show you my GitHub. What we're going to do now is we're going to fork a repository. So let's go ahead and find the icon repository that I linked earlier. So everybody head over to this repository, and what we're going to do is we're going to fork it. But I'm going to give everybody a second to get into the repository because I know I pasted it a little far back in the chat. And then what we're going to do is we're going to hit this magical fork button up at the top. And it's going to ask you if you're part of an organization that you have ownership permission of. It's going to ask you where you'd like to fork it. If this does pop up, make sure you fork it to your personal account and not an organization account, because then your organization will be upset. So now it's forking, which is basically copying the code and creating my own personal repository that I have complete control over in my own GitHub account. So now that I have the forked repo here, we can now continue back with the slides. So back in Morpheus Labs, when we hit the new button, we can now see our forked repository. And in this, we can hit the create a workspace and then start writing some code. So hopefully you can see your forked repository. If you can't, just refresh the Morpheus Labs page and then click on new next to my workspaces. Got a question. What is Morpheus? Morpheus Labs, or Morpheus, is the platform for managing our icon network. Good question. We need to give our workspace a name. So give it a name. In this case, you can just do uppercase ICON for icon. And then select the icon blockchain, then click next. So icon for name, icon for blockchain to work on, application for the application that you'll create, and then the standard runtime environment. So the only fields you should be changing here is the name and the blockchain to work, and it should both be icon. We're going to leave the stack and RAM settings as default. We're going to select the starter repository. In this case, is going to be the forked repository that we just forked from Major League Hacking. And then we're going to click next. We're going to keep the default BPass hosted option selected. Ensure the name is set to capital ICON and click confirm. Just to make sure all of your settings are correct, we're going to do a quick pause here. After that's all set, Click Start on your new workspace. We're going to wait until the indicator changes to running. And while everybody's doing that, I'm going to quickly do it on my end as well in another browser. All right, looks like we had some connection issues there. Should be good now. Trying to log in so I can do it along with you. Okay, never mind. Let's keep moving forward. All right, so go ahead and open the workspace by clicking on that little eye icon. Click Retrieve, and then click the URL. So let's do a quick recap. We've configured our Morpheus Labs workspace. Now we're ready to start writing some code. So it's now time to open your text editor of choice. Mine is Visual Studio Code, but you can use anything you'd like, Sublime Text, any IDE. You can even use TextEdit or Notepad if you really want to do that, but I really don't recommend it. Vim if you're fantastic and cool, but Visual Studio Code will work just as fine as well. So what we need to do first is, of course, open your text editor and then open the project that we've downloaded and cloned to our computer before in the text editor of choice. In this case, I'm going to keep referring to it as VS Code going forward. So everybody go ahead and open the project in VS Code now. The instructions on the slides are going to reference VS Code or Visual Studio Code instructions, because VS Code has a number of features that we're going to be using throughout this workshop, but it's perfectly fine if you do not use VS Code. There's just going to be some ulterior instructions that you'll need to follow, or alternative instructions that you'll need to follow. More specifically, probably this slide. Once you have the project opened in VS Code, you're going to open a terminal window by clicking Terminal in the upper toolbar and click New Terminal. Or you can also click Control-Shift+. And what's going to open is a terminal window where we can run commands to launch our web application. Make sure the drop-down menu in the terminal window is set to Command. So again, we're going to go to Terminal in the top toolbar and click on New Terminal. You can also get there by doing Control-Shift+. Make sure the drop-down menu in the terminal window is set to Command. In this terminal window, we're going to type the following two commands into the terminal window, pressing Enter after each command. First, we're going to change directory, or in this case, CD, into the source code folder. So go ahead and CD into the source code folder now. And to be more specific, you're going to type CD followed by this very long directory name. Now, you may need to enter more stuff. So, for example, if this directory or the repository you cloned is in your downloads folder, for example, you would need to cd to downloads first, and then you would need to cd into MLH local icon or MLH localhost icon blockchain casino starter. So you're going to possibly have to change directory a number of times to navigate to the project. Is anybody having trouble changing directory? Okay. I did not see any of the cup stacking challenge. Actually, I did catch a few glimpses of the cup stacking challenge on MLH's Instagram story earlier. Did you, anybody take part in that? MLH's cup stacking challenge. I kept doing mine. Yeah, I think the highest tower I saw in person was 50 cups in height, around there. It was pretty high. Floor to ceiling. That is impressive. That is seriously impressive. Yeah, it's probably like 8 feet. Cool. All right, hopefully everybody has changed directories into their project's source folder. Now we're going to write a score. And before we deploy our score to the Icon network, we're going to add some code which will determine whether a player has won the game or not. Scores are coded in Python. I think it's like every hacker's favorite language besides JavaScript for the most part. So we're going to write in Python, and we're going to add a new function to our contract called play. So let's get started. Head back to your Workspace tab, or in VS Code, go to the left pane, and we're going to navigate to the slot machine folder and open the slotmachine.py, or Python, file by just clicking on it. Assembly. Hey, if you can make a full-blown assembly project for a hackathon project, actually, I shouldn't say that. My friend did that. What did he do? He made a terminal-based Tetris game that was multiplayer, written in assembly. Was insane. Anyway, nothing sidetracking. So scores are Python programs. They contain functions which can be used externally, like from our web app. So let's take a look at the code of slotmachine.py. What external functions do we have? We have 4. We've got set treasury, which is used to add ICX to the score treasury, and get treasury, which retrieves the current treasury balance. We've got play, which is used when we play the slot machine. We'll be adding our code here. And then finally, we have get results. This returns the result of the slot machine spin. We're going to add code to the play function, starting on line 46. There's a couple of things this function is going to do. It's going to check that the bet is valid and that the treasury has enough ICX to pay out if the player wins. Then we're going to play the game by randomly generating numbers. And if it's a win, we're going to send an ICX transaction to the player and then send the results back to the web app to be displayed. So let's start with lines 46. We're going to need to retrieve the bet value and the treasury balance. Through lines 51 through 53, we're going to need to check that the treasury has enough ICX to pay the player if they win. If not, we're going to exit the function and display an error message. In the lines 53 through 54, we're going to check that the bet amount is in a valid range between 0 to 10 to the 24th. If not, we're going to display an error message. So I'm going to give everybody a few minutes now to check that this code is here. It most likely will not be there, so I'm going to give everybody a minute to start programming. Adam, you are reporting that you are full of errors. Shouldn't be full of it. We shouldn't be running anything yet, so there shouldn't be any errors popping up. We shouldn't be running any code yet. We have no code yet. So We're going to start by writing this code now, and I'll give everybody a few minutes to go ahead and do that. If the code is already there, just let me know, and we can like speed this up because I don't want anybody just to wait here for like 15 minutes. Something from the icon service at the top. All right, we'll just leave it for now, and we'll just write the code for now, and we'll see if we can resolve it later. We'll see if this resolves it, actually. That is a good question. Do they have two of the same if statements? They do. Only write one of them. Just try. Yeah, our bad. Only write one of them. Oh, it is already there? If it's already there, fantastic. That saves so much key typing. All right, cool. Can I confirm? So coding color bear says it's already there. Can we confirm it's already there from somebody else as well? Just to be safe. I had a hunch that it was already here. I just wanted to make sure. All right, cool. If not, and if you're missing it, just let me know and I'll head back. Cool. All right. So we've got part of the function written, and we're going to finish it off now. So let's write some code. So we need to decide if the player is one or not. In order to make the game probably fair, we need to generate a truly random number. So on line 58, there's a lot happening in this line, so let's break it down. And if this line's not here, make sure you write it in. We take the transaction hash, self.tx.hash, and convert it from a hexadecimal to bytes. We then convert that into text using the string function. Self.now gives us a string of the current time, something that will be different every time the game is played. We create a string called seed by adding these two strings together. Does anybody need a moment to type in this line of code? If it's not there, it might already be there. Yes, it is supposed to be indented into def play. Thank you. Good call, or good catch. We don't want a dangling variable in our Python file. That would be bad. No, we don't like semicolons. This isn't Java. This is why we moved to, this is why Kotlin has been a thing. No more semicolons. All right. All right. After you've got that line of code written, we're going to write some more code now. We want to give the player a 1 in 10 chance of winning. An easy way to achieve this is, from a random number is say, can we divide this number evenly by 10? So on line 59, what we need to write and what it's going to do basically is we're going to take the seed string and encode it into a secure hash using the SHA-256 hashing function. We convert this into an integer, or in this case, a number, using int. We then make use of the modulus operator, or in this case, the percent symbol. It means take this number, divide it by 10, or return the remainder. Can I get a peek into the last line? Absolutely. I was waiting for somebody to say that in the chat. So we will take a peek at this for one more second or two. Just let me know when you're good. All right, cool. Now this is the next code we need to write. So we've already gone over line 59. Let's explain what line 60 does now. If the result equals 0, this means our randomly generated number can be divided by 10 cleanly, no remainder, and thus it ends in 0. If this is the case, win equals true and the player has won. For all other results, win is false. So go ahead and write these 2 lines of code now. Perfect. Now what we need to do is prepare the results to send back to the web app. Let's walk through the code that we need to write now. From line 62 to 70, we're going to prepare a message to send back to the user. And on line 72, we're going to place the message into an array to be read by the function getResults on line 90. So go ahead and write this code now. That is a very good question. What are these variables for? I'm going to assume you're talking about the JSON result variable. This is what we're sending back to the user. JSON is used a lot in web development for sending data in responses or requests. So this is what we're sending back to the web app. We're sending all these variables back so the user can render it however they'd like. In this case, we're the backend. The front end application can be like an app. It can be a website. It can be whatever it wants. In this case, it's going to be a web page. But what we're doing is we're doing some backend development to take the data that we have, data that we've calculated. We're packaging it up in a JSON response. And if you don't know what JSON is, again, it's a key value pair storage system, and it's going to send it off into the front end application. Do they need those specific data to decode? I'm going to assume you're talking about the keys. The keys are the most important here because the front end application is going to be expecting the keys in this exact same format and casing. If you change these keys at all, the front-end application for your users can and most likely will break. This is more important for the back end, but it also makes it's also important that this makes logical sense as well, because, for example, you don't want to send over the wrong value, so you need to make sure that these values correspond to the right key, because that can end in some very poor transaction. Like, say, like, oh, we actually meant to send over $10, not 10 million integers, which would be very bad. Well, for the bank, not for the user who got $10 million. So hopefully that makes sense. The keys are very important, that they are typed out just the way they are, and then they're in the same casing. And this is true for any web application. And these are the values. All right. Does anybody need another minute to type out? I know this is a lot of code. If you're rendering 4K video on your Mac by any chance, and you need another minute, let me know. Because I know Adam is rendering some video right now. Doesn't sound like anybody in the chat needs another second, so we'll keep going. Now we need to send the winnings back to the user if they have won. So let's walk it through it pretty slowly. A lot of the code you're seeing here is just logging it to our terminal for debugging purposes. So a lot of this code here has nothing to do with our functionality that the end user will see. This is kind of just for our debugging purposes. That's what logger.info is for. So lines 75 through 82, if the player is won, we are going to attempt or try, which is what it means in code. A try block is meaning we're going to attempt to perform something. We're going to attempt to perform the action of sending them ICX, or sending them an ICX transaction. If it fails, and this is where we go to the accept area of our code, we're going to display an error message to the user. So again, the try area is where we attempt to perform an action. If it fails, we get to the exception part of our code, and that's where we perform another action. So if they haven't won, we're going to display an error message to the user. In this case, we're not really displaying an error message to the user, because this is just invoking logger, which just prints a message to your console. But in this case, you can put another error message if you'd like to your user. Is this all still indented in def play? Yes, all still in the play function. Play function is a little long here. If you're writing production code, quick tip, you might want to break this up into certain different functions. You probably don't want a function to be this long, but for the case of just showing off a tutorial, it works perfectly fine. All right, so I'll make the screen a little bit bigger so everybody can read the code a little bit more easily. And does anybody need another minute? All right, perfectly fine. If you're wondering what tag is in that logger line, it's basically it's just a tag. So when you use logger and it prints to the console, it'll print the tag followed by the message that precedes it. So that way your console messages are more organized. So oftentimes in Python, developers will use logger all over the place. And in large scale applications, when you run the program, you'll see like hundreds of logger lines being output per second. It's incredible. So smart IDEs can actually sort your console by logger tag, which makes finding your messages a lot easier. So that's what tag is. And if you're writing an application this weekend for a MLH member event hackathon, try to use logger instead of using simple print statements for debugging. because Logger can be a lot more efficient and a lot cleaner for not only yourself, but the other developers on your team. Little pro tip. All right. Coding Polar Bear. Are you all set? Is Logger part of Python? It should. I think it is. I think you just have to import Logger. Import Logger. It should already be imported on that same file because it should be used in other places. But in terms of your projects, you should just be able to import Logger. If you're an intelligent IDE and you don't import Logger, it probably will suggest it for you because it is commonly used. All right. Wow. So code recap really quickly. Shout out to Adam for wondering if this is all indented in the play function. Yeah, it is. We're over here. It is all indented in that play function. So perfect. Can you show the previous lines once again to make sure I did not miss anything? Yeah, were you looking for these lines or these lines? Let me know. Or this. Or I can actually just, if the code recap isn't too small, I can also put that up here as well. I can like zoom in, like, so make sure everybody can see, and I'll get rid of your message. So I'll leave this up for a second just to make sure everybody can check their work. Make sure your screen matches mine exactly. And we'll come back in a second. Right, we got some in the chat. I got two statements in the beginning from the starter code. I believe it's okay that they're there. We could probably just leave them. If I'm not mistaken, they should be these two lines, amount and balance. Actually, I have a terminal window, so I can probably check myself. What file is it? Where is the file? Yeah, is it slotmachine.py? So play does have some code here. That's fine, that's fine, that's fine. Oh, so add code here. Okay, so we actually included a lot more than I thought we did. So it looks like they included a lot of stuff. So everything here is fine. Where it says add code here, that's where you should continue off. So I'll put the code recap back up now. So I think hold on. It says payout. Okay, so seed. Seed is where you should start, right here. All right, we all set? I think we are. So let's recap. We created a workspace and we finished writing our score. Next, we need to create an icon wallet to store the coins we'll use to play the game. So next, we're going to head to this URL. I'll put it in the chat, and we're going to click on wallet. And Adam, you need another second. Let me put the link in the chat for those who are done, and then I will go back to the previous code recap slide for those of you who still need it. Yep. There you go. It is a Chrome extension. So if you need to download Chrome, go ahead and do that now. We're going to need to use Chrome for this workshop. Sorry, I haven't mentioned it earlier. You are correct, Adam. It does look like the code recap is missing this line of code. Let's keep it in because it should be there. Good catch. Go ahead and keep it in. If it ends up being a problem, we can always just chuck it later. Cool. All set, Adam? Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. All right, cool. So hopefully you've head to the URL and clicked on wallet. If you haven't done so, go ahead and do that now. You're probably going to want to do this in your Chrome browser because we're going to need to use a Chrome extension. If you're using Edge, I do apologize. This is not compatible with Edge. I heard that several hackers made Orion use Edge earlier, and I found that to be absolutely hilarious on stream. So what we're going to do is click on Add to Chrome, and when it's finished installing, click on the icon logo from the Chrome extensions bar. When that opens up, we're going to go ahead and select Create Wallet. You should see if you can get Ryan to download Internet Explorer 11. I don't even think they ship IE 11 anymore, but you should get Ryan to download IE 11 and then see if he'll be able to use it. Or like Opera. I don't know if anybody uses that browser anymore. All right, so once you click on create wallet, we're going to keep the wallet as ICX or icon and click on the next button. We're going to give our wallet a name and secure it with a password. Click next. Make sure you remember your password and do not be like the person who got locked out of their Bitcoin wallet worth $200 million because you only get 10 password attempts and they're on the 8th password attempt and they are 2 attempts away from losing $200 million worth of Bitcoin. So make sure you save it as a rememberable password anytime you're creating a wallet or really anything that you do. Just make sure you know the password. All right. We're going to click download key store file and then click next. If you don't know what a key store file is, that's perfectly fine. It is a file which contains an encrypted private key. You can use it to access your wallet from other devices and be careful to not lose it. That's very important. How many slides do I have left? Because I don't want to run into the next workshop. I got quite a few. So I might pick up the speed a little bit here, but it's perfectly fine because we got another workshop coming on in 13 minutes. But the slides are available to you. We've got through the code part. I believe the next part is just setting up our environment, then we're basically done. So I'm going to start picking up the pace a little bit just so I make sure we're not in the way of Jack's workshop. So what we're going to do is we're going to click copy private key, and we're going to make a note of it. This key will allow you to access your wallet from devices other than your current one. And then after you've copied your private key, click complete. And after you've done that, this is your wallet dashboard where you can view your current number of coins and tokens. You don't start until 9? Oh, we've got way more time than I thought we did. Okay, never mind. We can go back to slow speed, slow PowerPoint. All right. So that's the wallet dashboard. So now let's configure our chain or system to run on the testnet, not the mainnet. Currently, our wallets are connected to mainnet, the main real-life icon network. We're going to be running our application on testnet, so we don't spend any real money. We're going to make some small changes that your wallet is on testnet instead of mainnet. Testnet, as the name suggests, allows us to test scores and transaction without us losing real ICX. I thought I did see 832 Jack somewhere. Where did I see that? Who knows? We'll just keep rolling. I think we're the only 2 workshops tonight anyway. Maybe I just K-rated 830 because I don't know. Whatever. All right, so we need to switch over to mainnet, and the way we're going to do that is we need to open the Chrome Developer Tools. If you don't know how to get there, press F12 on your keyboard or Control-Shift-I to open Developer Tools. Select the Application tab, and then under Local Storage, select Chrome Extension. We're going to double-click an empty line to add a new key value pair. And we're going to type isDev as the key and true as the value. So give everybody a second to go ahead and do that. After that, simply reload your tab by pressing F5. At the bottom of your wallet screen, there's going to be a new menu, which currently says mainnet. We're going to select it, and we're going to change it to Uido. I'm definitely pronouncing that wrong, but we're going to switch to that one because that is what's going to be testnet. Uedo, I think I'm pronouncing that, is a small island in Seoul, Korea. It's the city's financial district. It also is the code name for Icon's testnet. So go ahead and switch it that now, so we're not wasting any real ICX. Yeah, after you're on the wallet's landing page, what we did was we opened up. So you should probably be here right now. We're going to open the Chrome developer tools by pressing F12 or Control-Shift-I. And under the application tab, we're going to select local storage, and then we're going to select Chrome extension. Double click on an empty line to add a new key value pair. Type isdev as the key, and for the value, just write in true, all lowercase. Just like here. Afterwards, reload your tab by pressing F5 or just the refresh button. At the bottom of your wallet screen will be a new menu which currently says mainnet. We're going to select it, and then we're going to go to Icon's testnet network, which is labeled by, it's with the label Uedo. So click on that one. Oh, I just realized I have a laser pointer. Whoops. Okay, cool. After this, we now have a wallet. So we're going to give you some test ICX coins to test your app. Head to this URL and paste your wallet address in the faucet to get 100 test ICX. So I'm going to post this link in the chat now. You can find that address in the dashboard of your wallet from the extension. Everybody all set? How do you select the test net city? Basically, there should be a at the bottom of your wallet screen in the Chrome extension, you'll see a new menu which currently says mainnet. Select it, and you're going to switch it to Uedo or Yodo. That's going to bother me. I got to throw that into a speech to text or text to speech rather. And then get yourself some free test ICX. All right, hopefully we're all set. Now what we're going to do is check our balance. You can just do this by refreshing your wallet page, and you should now have a balance of test ICX coins. So hopefully you've got a balance of test ICX coins. Next, we're going to navigate to the key stores folder in your workspace. This is back in VS Code or your text editor. We're going to copy or drag and drop your downloaded key store file from before into this folder. The file will start with UTC-. We're going to then rename the file by right-clicking on it and give it the file extension .json for JSON so that our web app can read it. Afterwards, let's review what an environment variable is. So our source code has a env file, which stores environment variables, values that are used across the application. This includes things such as usernames, passwords, or access tokens or keys. Our source code has a file called .env.example in the web app folder. It contains some default values that we'll use or will replace, like our wallet password. If you're a web developer and you work with backend development, you'll see environment variables used a lot, especially if you're publishing your code to open source, such as GitHub. You don't want to share your private key or your passwords. So you can use things such as environment variables that you set on the machine locally, and that way it will not be shared onto the code repository so long as you don't check it into Git. But environment variables are used a lot. So let's go ahead and set that up now. Firstly, we need to create our own environment file from the environment example file. If your app is still running, make sure to stop it by typing Control-C or Command-C on Mac. We're going to use the cp or copy command to create a copy of the environment example, and we're going to call it .env. So the command is cp webapp/.env.example space webapp/.env. When the copy is complete, a new file will be visible in the File Explorer. Click on it, and we're going to modify some of its values. We're going to change two values here, the location of your key store file and your wallet password. Go ahead and change the values of player_wallet_private_key file path and player wallet password to your values, and then click Save. The environment file is going to be in the web app directory, and make sure your new environment file is in the web app directory as well. Not see where you're seeing password, Adam. Player wallet password. Yeah, you can just put it in without quotes. It should just put it in without quotes. I forgot what we named the password. We named the Icon Network password. This one is your own password. Don't worry, you're not checking it into Git, or shouldn't be. We're not pushing to Git, so you can just put the password in there. But the password is a string, yes. This is going to be your wallet password, the password you configured on the Google Chrome extension. The password you configured when you were setting up your wallet in the Chrome extension. Good question. Then we have one more file to modify. We're going to open up the tbears CLI config JSON file. Go ahead and change the values of your wallet key store file and your wallet address. Remember, your wallet address starts with HX. Afterwards, save the file. Score address. So that should be from Morpheus Labs. If I can log into it. Let me open up a new window. Yeah, all you should be editing on this slide is the key path file and the password. The next slide, you're going to be editing your wallet address and your wallet key store file, which again is found in the Chrome extension we set up a few slides back. I lost StreamYard. Where did you go? There you are. So if we change the 2 to our own address, would the money come to us? That's a good question. Possibly. If you want, the only problem with that is the game's going to end super quickly because it needs to submit money back to the network in order for the game to keep on going. Because if you remember properly, we need to reward ICX, but we also need to take ICX as well to enter the game. But if we're feeding it to your own personal wallet, there's no more ICX left for the game to use in order to initiate a winnings to a player. So after this is all set, let's finally deploy this application and let's get it working. So it's time to deploy the score, and we can do this straight from our terminal window using a tbears command. Let's see if it was successful. If you get an error, try restarting the workspace. So what we're going to do is type in tbears deploy slot machine right from the starter directory. Tbears command not found. Yep, that was something I was afraid of. We probably have to download something. Tbears command not found. Let's see here. How did I do this? One second. Let me check my own. Tbears command not found. I'm just quickly looking really quickly how we can download tbears really quick because it looks like we're missing that slide. Tbears CLI. GitHub. It's the technical documentation. Okay. I'll paste it in the chat later. So what we'll do is I'll keep rolling through the slides and I'll post the resources a little bit after. Oh, Adam, you can, oh, perfect. It's in requirements.txt. Duh, probably have to install it. Yep, that'll do it. So you have to install the requirements from the project. Good catch. All right, so let everybody install the requirements file now. All right, looks like we got some Python bugs going on right now. All right, so okay. So it looks like we've got a missing version in our requirements file. I didn't catch this because I already have the requirements installed. All right, so let me see if I can get the correct resources after the workshop, but I'll continue for now running through. You have the workshop slides that'll be available to you afterwards. But for the sake of time, let me get this workshop through, and then I'll work on getting the correct versions for you all. All right, so after we run our tbears command, we're going to see another tbears command that we can use to verify that the score was actually deployed. So we can use the command tbears tx result and add Control-V to paste in the transaction hash. If the output includes a score address, the deployment was a success. The address is a unique identifier for our score, which now exists on Icon's testnet. What you're going to want to do later on, and again, you can access this recording on Twitch, you can highlight and copy Control-C, the score address's value. So let's do a quick recap. We've deployed our score to testnet. Next, we need to add some funds to the score so we can play the game. So next, we're going to make another modification to our environment file, and this is something that you can do. Actually, you can't do it. It's because it's coming from the tbears container. So what we're going to do later on is you're going to copy the value from the tbears container and replace the casino score address value with what you've copied. The Icon team has generously offered to provide 10 ICX to those who provide your score address. So if you'd like 10 free ICX, go ahead and submit your score address. Mainnet ICX will be sent to the wallet that deployed the score to testnet within 4 weeks. I'll put the link in the chat if you're interested. All right, we're going to send some funds to the score to act as the treasury for the game. We do this by sending a transaction from our wallet to the score. We need to modify some details in the transaction, so open up send setTreasury.json. There are 2 values to modify here. your wallet address, and the score address. You can grab those from the environment file and then paste them there. Remember, your wallet address starts with HX and the score address starts with CX. And of course, remember to save the file. We can send this transaction with the tbears command send tx. In the terminal window, you're going to be running this command to send the transaction. Afterwards, you can check to see if the transaction was successful by again using the tbears balance followed by your score address. To launch the web application, we're going to type the following two commands into the terminal window, pressing enter after each command. First, we need to change directory into the source code folder. Once we're in the source code folder, we can do pip3 install with the R recursive flag web app requirements.txt. This is what we were trying to do earlier, but we ran into an issue, so we're going to have to resolve that separately. So finally, we launched the application using the Python 3 command. Python 3 web app, then /main.py. Our web app uses an awesome library called Flask to launch a local web server. So we're going to access it. If you've never heard of Flask before, it's really, really cool. It's super lightweight and very easy to set up. If you're new to creating hackathon projects and you need a web server to spin up on the fly and you don't want to deal with something as large as Django for Python, you can use Flask, and it's super lightweight, and I highly recommend it. All right. To view the web app, we're going to head back to the dashboard tab of your browser where you launched the workspace from. We're going to click the eye icon in your workspace, and we're going to click retrieve, and lastly, we're going to click the Python app URL. This is what the app is going to look like. Our app is currently running locally, and we can press go to give it a spin. The credits box indicates how many ICX are in the application's wallet. You can modify the bet value by clicking the add and subtract buttons. So what exactly is happening here? Well, first the user sets a bet amount and clicks go. Then the app writes a new transaction to send to our score with the bet amount. And then lastly, the score receives the transaction and withdraws the bet amount from the player's wallet. The score spins randomly and decides if the player has won or not. If the player wins, it sends a funds transfer to the user's wallet with the winnings. Lastly, it returns the result to the application so we can update the UI to the user. If you're new to web development and haven't heard of UI before, it stands for user interface, and it's anything that the user of an application sees on their screen or device. So we can track the activity of our score by using the testnet tracker. It will provide details of all transactions on the score. I'll put the link in the chat now. Here, we can view the score balance and the number of transactions that have been sent to it. We can select a transaction, and you can see which wallet it came from and how many ICX were transferred, which is pretty cool. So let's recap. We've launched the app and learned how to track our scores on the icon tracker. So what did we learn? We learned an introduction to blockchain technology. We learned how to create an icon blockchain using Morpheus Labs. And then we learned how to create scores and deploy them using tbears. Icon offers ICX grants to projects that benefit the Icon community. Recommended proposal types include infrastructure, development, education, marketing, public relations, and community activities, and a ton more. For more info, you can head to this link. I'll post it in the chat as well. So now we get to complete the fun quiz to earn our local hack day points for this workshop. So I'm going to open up a Chrome window or a Safari window. MLH localhost / quiz. So let's do it together, shall we? I'm going to fill out my own quiz feedback or my own workshop feedback. What workshop was this? Learning how to score on Icon. Make sure you enter LHD Build 2021 to earn your points. What email address did you use to sign up for the workshop? Enter your email. It is mlhlocal.host / quiz. Thank you for attending the MLH localhost blockchain casino. Well, we're okay. TLDR. All right, now we complete a few short questions. How likely is it you recommend Major League Hacking to a friend or colleague? I don't know. I work at MLH. Would I recommend MLH to MLH? Yes. How likely is it you would recommend Major League Hacking localhost events to a friend or colleague? Very likely. What part of the workshop was the most helpful or interesting? All of it. All of it. Did any part of the workshop not work or not make sense? T-Bears. Anything else you'd like to tell us? Hello from Chris B. Would you like to opt into receiving a bi-weekly local? No. Let me click next. What was the most difficult part of using Icon technology? None of it. What is a technology application you'd like to build using Icon's technology? Everything. Icon smart contract. I know what that's called. All right, cool. So hopefully you've finished the quiz or you're currently working on it. While you're working on it, of course, with every MLH localhost workshop, learning shouldn't stop when the workshop ends. Check your email for access to these workshop slides, practice problems to keep learning, deeper dives into key topics, instructions to join the community, and more opportunities for Major League Hacking. I'm Chris B, and thank you for joining me in this MLH localhost workshop, Blockchain Casino, learning how to score on Icon. We're going to take a short little break, but up next, you've got Jack with another awesome workshop in 10 minutes. I'm not too sure what the workshop actually is, but Jack will be coming on in 10 minutes to do another awesome workshop. It's been awesome teaching you a bunch of stuff this week. Good luck with the rest of Local Hack Day. Build, what is the suite of dev build schools called? T-Bears. Hope all of you get a chance to take part in an awesome Major League Hacking member event this weekend. I am going to be coaching Hack the Northeast and beyond. So if any of you are attending Hack the Northeast and beyond this weekend, you will see me there this weekend. But hopefully you all have a fantastic weekend, and I will leave you with an offline thing for the next 10 minutes. All right. We'll see you all in 9 minutes.